So good morning, everybody. Today we're going to work with some pork butts. All right, we got these actually as a special at the grocery store last evening. Normally they were running $2.56 a pound. I got these for $1.99. When you're shopping for your proteins, especially because they're a big part of your budget, always try to find good prices. Watch your newspaper, watch your ads, watch your phone, Facebook posts, whatever it is, however your grocery store advertises. And then when they have a special on any type of meat or something that your family likes, bacon, whatever it is, in our house we purchase 2, 3, 4 of them, utilize our freezer, and then when we need to want to make pork butt or what have you, we just pull that out of the freezer and we're ready to go. Okay, so it's a good way to utilize deals at your grocery store or at your butcher's case. It's also a good piece of advice to become familiar with your butcher at any grocery store, something you frequent. All right, walk up, introduce yourself to Bill, Jim, Greg, whoever, because they'll work with you going forward when something's coming on special, what have you. If you need any custom cutting done, they're more than happy to do that for you. So there's always a good rapport with your butcher whenever you are working in your grocery stores. That's just my suggestion to you. I did retail cutting for a good amount of time in my career. Always put the customer first. So I unwrapped these butts. Like I said, I paid $1.99 a pound for them. I'm going to put these one of 3 ways. I'm going to do 2 other videos on this process. Today I'm going to do it the way I did for my son's wedding. Simple, roast in a Nesco, slow, long, cook it until all of the collagen within the pork denatures and turns into gelatin. So that's our mission. So it'll fall off the bone tender. This will take roughly 13 to 14 hours. Keep an eye on it. I utilize very few ingredients. Okay, I make a rib rub. Make all that myself. I try to utilize as much product as I make in my house as possible. That way I'm not buying additives, preservatives, chemicals to my mixes. Quite simple. I'll post the recipe on this link. Once I get it all dried off, I'm going to discard this. In the corner over here I have a sink made up with bleach, soap, and 1 gallon of hot water. Recipe is 1 tablespoon of soap, 1 tablespoon of bleach, and a gallon roughly of hot water. Sanitize your kitchen as you go. Okay? I always teach in my classrooms, clean as you go, clean as you go, clean as you go. So when you're done with your culinary and your preparation, simple cleanup. You're all done. Okay? So while those rest and get happy, I want to grab my spice mix. Okay, I have my mise en place ready. You'll hear me talk about mise en place a lot, preparing for the day. Today we got 1/2 cup of salt, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of black ground pepper. I have a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of granulated garlic, 1/4 cup of onion powder, 1/4 cup of paprika, 1/4 cup of chili powder. I got a tablespoon of both turmeric and cayenne pepper. You can mix this up however you like. A simple base rub is just the sugar and the pepper. Okay, mix it together, works great. Works especially well on brisket if you do anything as far as smoking. The rest of these, it's a matter of your personal preference. If you like garlic, load it up. Okay, if you like hot and spicy, throw in the jalapeno, throw in the cayenne, throw in whatever. Okay, it's a matter of preference. I also like to add mustard to this for the mix, for the rub, but today I'm going to use yellow mustard on the butts, so that's going to give me my mustard component. Okay, all we're going to do is dump these into a bowl, mix them up. Didn't think any of you wanted to watch me measuring and scaling everything up. So add that to our sink. Mix that all together. If you want to put this in a food processor or in a blender and just blast it a little bit, that'll bust all that brown sugar up nice and smooth. Give you a nice fine rub. I don't find that necessary. And then all we're going to do with this is put it on our butts after we rub them with mustard. Now, why'd you make so much? Well, I make this all up ahead and then I store it in a container and it's ready to go. Okay, all of my ingredients come in. I buy 1 pounders at a Costco, at a Sam's Club, what have you. If you look at the price on this compared to the price for a little container on your display shelf, you're not a lot of difference in price. So if you use a lot of ingredients, you use a lot of garlic, you use a lot of whatever, you can go ahead and buy the larger increment and use it up. It'll save you on your budget as well. All right. The paprika that's in here will leach out into the rest of the spice and give it a nice red balanced color. Okay? You notice from that over there, we're ready to go. Okay? So we'll let this sit and get happy. Go to our butts. Ooh. Roll up my sleeves for this one. Now, I'm not wearing any gloves. Most videos you see, butchers are wearing gloves. Okay? Don't have to wear gloves if you wash your hands. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And you're going to put this product in the oven right away. Okay? And in this case, we'll be at 325 degrees. Your bacteria and whatever there be a concern won't be an issue. Okay? So, what we're going to do with this, rub these down with a little mustard. You can be as liberal or as minimal as you want. If you don't like mustard at all, omit it. Take the rub straight to the butt. Personal preference again. The mustard will adhere the spice to the butt. It also is vinegar based. Vinegar, if you were to let this sit overnight in your refrigerator, uncovered, don't need to cover it, all right? That vinegar will work on the muscles, and actually the acidity of it will break down and tenderize it. Okay? If I were going to have this rest in the refrigerator overnight, then I would have my gloves on because they're exceeding that 4-hour safety window for bacteria. Even though you're putting it in the refrigerator. We'll talk a little bit more about serve safe down the road. So, wash your hands up. And this one comes complete with a shaker. And here too, you can put on as much, as much or as little as you like. I like to go a little heavy, but then I like flavor. If you're not a big fan of flavor, go light. You can just boil these straight up. And not put any flavor into it at all. Okay? Boiled beef, the example, like a corned beef brisket. You don't have to impart a lot of flavor. All you're doing is getting the tenderization process done. Okay? So it's all a matter of preference. One thing I would like to advise everyone is, if you're working with a new recipe, try it first. Okay? I see so many, especially my students, who get a recipe, they don't read the procedure, they go through the list, they get all the ingredients, they throw it in a bowl, and then they want to be creative. Let's add this, let's add that, let's add this, let's add that. Hey, stuff don't taste so good. All right, you got to know what your foundation is. You got to know what your starting point is. So make a recipe, maybe a smaller batch, taste of it, okay? And if you like it, great. If you can improve on it, again, personal preference, I really like garlic. I'm a big fan of ginger. All right, then add it, okay? And then make a note of it in your recipe so that the next time you make the product, you'll add that, okay? It's all a matter of what you like, all right? So we got all of these rubbed up with spice. Oh, my cameraman says that one needs more. Okay, we'll get right on that. Okay, we're going to put these in the Nesco. I got a Nesco over here. It's preheated at 325 degrees. If you don't have a Nesco at home, you can do it with a roasting pan, okay? Traditional roasting pan, do it in your oven. Same temperature, about 325. Same process, same everything. If you don't have that pan, you can do it in a cake pan. Just have to use some aluminum foil over it, okay? It all can be done without going out and buying specific equipment. If you're good on the grill and you have a grill, put it on the grill, okay? So all we're going to do with these now is I have a rack in the bottom. It is hot, so we'll not burn ourselves. We're just going to set all 3 of those butts in there, and we're just going to let that slow roast. Now, if you wanted to add a smoky component to this, put it on the grill. Crank the grill up 450, 500 degrees if you have a gas grill, or over coal or whatever, or even smoke it. And then once you got that flavor infused in here, now put it to your Nesco process. All of these butts, roughly 25%-ish moisture, okay, is going to extrude. That's all going to be used for your stock and your sauce. So tomorrow when we take a look at this, about 14 or so hours from now, this should fall off the bone tender. And the best way to check is all of these butts, bone-in butts, have the shoulder blade bone here, okay, the scapula. You should be able to grab a hold of that with the tongs and gently shake and it'll pull right out, okay? If it doesn't, they're not done yet. So you can buy butts anywhere from 6 pounds up to 12 pounds. Okay, I try to get heavies. If I'm going through the process, I want to make sure I have a lot of yield. If there's a lot of heavy fat on here, trim it away. There isn't, so we're in a good spot. And then just cook this till the bones pull out. Okay, then you know it's done. Let her sit for a little bit. Shred it, chop it, slice it, dice it, grind it, whatever you want to do. I've seen 100 different ways to pull pork, and all of them work. Okay, so there is no set rules and regulations. I set these on end like this in the Nesco so they fit. Okay, if I wanted to do one butt, I could do that, but you're not going to get the moisture. You're not going to get the moisture draw as you will with 3. Okay, does that make sense? Washing up again. Smart guy would have put his paper towels closer to the sink. Never been accused of that. And then I like to impart one element to get the moisture started. Okay, there's not going to be any draw of moisture until this heats up. Till that time, we need something in there to make a vapor barrier. I just use 1 can of beer, your preference. I keep the expensive stuff for consumption, and the less expensive for moisture. And it already smells good in here. Lid on, check it every couple of hours. Once that starts drawing moisture, you're good. Then you got yourself some pulled pork. And it's really simple once it's done and hot. All you do is shut the unit off, pull the lid, check that bone. That bone comes out. Walk away from it for an hour or so. Let it cool down enough where you can handle it. And then with 2 forks, or if you happen to have a shredder, just pull the pork apart. All right? Bones come out, meat's ready to go. Add your favorite condiment, barbecue sauce, coleslaw, whatever you want to do, your homemade buns, cornbread, whatever you like. All right, and welcome back. Our pork has been simmering roughly for 14 hours. A panoramic of the product. Stock is about 2/3 of the way up the pan. It basically went through a braising process. It is now, should be, fall off the bone tender. Just take a simple tongs and the bone should lift freely out. From that point you can take all of the meat out, probably in chunks. And I'm going to utilize a second tongs. Trying to leave as much of the juice of the au jus in the roaster as possible. These were smaller butts than I normally work with. So we put them on about 11 o'clock yesterday. By 11:30 they were ready. And we'll go through the culling process at this point in time. If the butts are done correctly, they should be fall apart tender. And all that natural nectar, all that au jus, Can be used for soups, for gravies, for stocks. What I normally do then is I will put that stock into a container, a kettle probably, and then I will refrigerate that. You can add some ice to it to chill it down, more of a speed process, and then put it into your refrigerator. You do not want to put hot liquids, hot product, hot any leftovers into your refrigerator right off the stove. You want to let that get down to room temperature. It puts a lot of stress on your refrigerator, on your compressor, and you heat the entire cabinet of your refrigeration unit. All of the components inside your refrigerator also warm up. Your milk, your condiments, what have you, your produce. So I always try to let it cool down, air temperature, just get most of the heat off. And then when that is fully refrigerated, all of the fat that's in there that is rendered out of the pork butts will come to the top. Now, some folks discard that fat. You can use that as a thickening agent. Follow the link on soup, sauces, roux I have put out. All of that natural nectar now can become a sauce, a soup, a stock. You can reserve some of that also to dump over your pork when you reheat it. I did this in mass quantities so that I would have product I can put into my freezer, utilizing budgetary guidelines at the store. Again, purpose behind all of that is so you do the job one time and you make multiple meals. 3 pork butts for our family. I could feed a group of 6 to 8 people. I'll portion it down into Ziploc bags and freeze it. And then I can get roughly 10-12 meals out of this. So I'm pretty well set until late summer when I can do this process again. So back to the pulling. I did put a rack in this pan so that nothing sticks to the bottom of the roaster. Again, if you do not have an Esco, don't go purchase one. You are easily do it with a roasting pan in your stove, in your oven. You can do it on your grill. And we'll talk about direct and indirect grilling at a later segment. At this point, all you have to do is shred it and enjoy. See how it's falling apart. Now, I've seen guys, you can look this up in your own time, using everything from a power drill with a paint stirrer, of course a clean one, as a shredding apparatus, and it works quite well. They make shredding apparatus also, if you have, you can do it with the tongs, just like I'm doing here. All you're doing is shredding the pork. You can do it with a couple of forks. Most folks have forks in their home. And all you have to do is pull the muscle apart. And I'm hoping you can get this in the video. And you just pull, and then it shreds the pork. Now yesterday, we made a batch of rib rub in bulk. I have transitioned that into a container, and I'll show you how I go about my process. So, take a butt, or pieces thereof, shred it. Pulls very gently, very easy. Now if you wanted to refrigerate this as a whole muscle and then take a knife to it and cut it more uniformly, you can. A little bit of fat that is left in here was rendered out into your stock, so you don't have a lot of fat that you're dealing with. And then after I get a pile of the pork, maybe half this pan full, I will season it with that rib rub, and then I'll put a second layer on there for reheat. Pan like this, I can do a group of maybe 25, 30 people, have them over for a party, a picnic, Super Bowl group, whatever, and I'm all set for an event. Again, working out of my freezer. Do the job once, reheat it multiple times. And then all we got to do is lightly, or as heavily as you like, I prefer lightly, just like salt and pepper your steak at your table. Sprinkle that on, and now you got pulled pork. It's very easy, it's very simple, it's just time consuming. Okay? Plan yourself a weekend event. Use this to teach your kids. Show them how to do it. Fathers out there, get busy working the grill. All right? These are life skills that kids will have for the rest of their days. They can share with their kids and it'll be generational. Just like our grandparents taught us. So until the next time I see you, may blessings be upon your family. Have yourself the best day ever.